Today we're going to talk about the basics of organization and one of the most powerful and simple tools that I have found and that I use and I've consulted on for many years to organize the flow lines of an organization, the responsibilities of every employee or every team member within the organization, as well as their duties and valuable final products, and how to set up a flow line from one person to the next to make the organization very well organized. And that's called the organization board. The organization board is something that has many different iterations that have been written about by many different people. And kind of the background philosophy of an organization board is that there's a natural progression or flow within an organization, in any type of organization. Okay, whether it's an online company, an automotive repair shop, a beauty salon, a restaurant, you name it. Even churches and nonprofit organizations. An organization, by the way, is simply a group of people working together to achieve a common goal. That's really all an organization is. It's a group of people. And it's held together through agreements and policies. And those agreements and policies, if they are not publicly known, or at least known internally to the team, you don't have people working toward a common direction, right? You've probably heard the saying that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But in order to draw a straight line between point A and point B, you have to know where point B is. If there's no point B, it's kind of hard to get there. You'll probably never arrive at point B. So before you set up an organizing board or any kind of structured system for seniority and whose job is what, and let's write it all down on paper, you have to have a common goal that everyone is working toward. And that common goal, your job as a leader, as the owner of the company or the director of the organization, is to get everybody on the same page, moving from point A to point B. Sorry. The camera's filming me backwards, so it's the opposite in the screen for me. It's like mirrored. It looks funny. All right, so let's talk about the organization board. And by the way, this is actually based on the works of L. Ron Hubbard, and from this little book here called The Basics of Organizing. L. Ron Hubbard is the founder of the Church of Scientology. This is not a religious booklet, as you can see when I open it. He is just a brilliant guy, and he was a science fiction writer, among many other things, a philosopher, a philanthropist. Here's a picture of an organizing board, and I guess this is a bakery. This is a really old booklet that I have. It's probably 20 years old. There's a much newer version of it, and we'll give a link in the description below where you can get more information. Here's an example of an org board. We'll call it an org board for short, and I'll walk you through my version of the org board, but it's brilliant because what he found is that the missing ingredient in any organization that's ever failed is a particular division within that org board, and I'm going to walk you through it. So I just want to let you know where I got that training from. There's a lot of these like little helpful booklets and very free online courses. Very free. I was going to say very cheap. Very cheap. They're actually free online courses on these subjects as well that you can do, and we can link you to those. Again, they're non-religious. It doesn't push any agenda. It's just there to help you. And I've used a lot of these tools to improve my own company. I've consulted on a lot of these tools, and they're awesome. So that being said, I'm going to click here. This is the org board that Chelsea and I built for our company, which is called Tenacious Ventures. Let me walk you through a little bit about this. So obviously the name of the company is up here and the founders. And I set this up a little bit unique, but it kind of goes with the same flow that Hubbard talks about in this book and in the online course. So let me walk you through each of these 7 divisions. And I'm going to actually zoom out just a little bit so you can kind of see the whole thing, and hopefully you'll be able to read it. I know that's a little small, but that way you can see everything from top to bottom. So here we have Division 7, and this is called the Executive Division. Actually, I'm going to zoom back in, and I'll just scroll down as needed. So at the top, we have the name of each of the 7 divisions. And as you know, it starts with 7. It doesn't start with 1. And the reason being is that I'm going to explain how there's a flow that actually goes into a full, we could call it like a spiral, an upward spiral. And I'll show you how that works. But basically, think about the inception of a team, the inception of an organization. Before you can have a business, you have to have somebody that puts it there, somebody who dreams up this idea of a business. They set the goals, they set the direction and the purposes of the company or the organization if it's not a company. They do the strategic planning. They write expansion programs. They assign executives. They do the policies. They coordinate the structure. They set up all the legal, the partnerships. All of the actual putting the organization or the business there in the first place is done by the executive before the company even exists. So that's why this is set at the very beginning. And at the bottom of every division, you have something called a valuable final product. And that basically means when everything is said and done, that division of that organization is responsible for producing an end result that is tangible, it's valuable, it's final, meaning it doesn't have to be, nothing else has to be done. It's completed, and it's a product, meaning it can be exchanged for money or some other tangible, exchangeable commodity. So in this case, the executive's valuable final product is a profitable and expanding business. That's the executive's job. The person running the company, their job is to make a business that is profitable and expanding. All right, so once the business is dreamed up, then you have to have division 1, which is establishment. And you can call this different things. I think in Hubbard's version of the org board, he calls it communications. So communications, I call it establishment because those are the words that I like for my company. But this is basically, they have to set up the communications within the organization, right? You have to have internal systems to communicate. You have to have email, and in our place we have like online storage and IT and websites and stuff like that where we store our data. And this is also the division that's responsible for hiring and training employees or team members, right? So a lot of our stuff is outsourced. They're not technically employees of our company, but they are team members. And so the establishment division is responsible for hiring those people. For it basically, in the normal world, we will call this HR, right? Which is human relations. I don't really like that term, but that's a very corporate term, but it's what people say. So this is like the HR part of that division. So you could take these divisions and break them into their various departments, but we'll just kind of list it all out here. You've got training employees and there as well. And the valuable final product for that division is smoothly running systems, communications, and teams. So again, this division dreams up the company. This one helps to build all of the communication lines and all the people that are going to run the company. Now you have to go sell something, don't you? Good. Now you've got the idea, you've got the people there, you've got the communications and the flow lines. Now you've got to go sell something. So division 2 is marketing and sales. And in this case, we do a lot of Amazon. So I'll walk you through this a little bit, but we've got Amazon sales, we've got website sales, and I'm not going to go through every little word on here, but you get the idea. And of course, this version of our org board will be available for you to download, and you can of course edit it and use it on your own. Of course, this is copyrighted, so don't just copy what we wrote here, but you can use this as a template and create your own org board. But I highly recommend you go read that booklet or do the online course, which I'll link to later. So this is all of our sales. We're marketing on Amazon, we're marketing on our own websites, we're doing non-Amazon marketing on Walmart, Jet.com, other marketplaces. Of course, eventually we'll do retail marketing and wholesale marketing. This is the marketing and sales. This is where we actually go sell something to bring money into the organization. And the valuable final product of that division is effectively marketed products and services resulting in a volume of profitable sales. I've put a lot of thought into what the valuable final product is for each one of these divisions. And the wording is very important. Eventually, this org board is going to be posted up in a much nicer format, by the way. This is just a Word document in a nice format, posted up on a wall in an office where everybody can see it. Sorry, I was compressing a video, my previous training video that I just finished, and I don't want that bouncing around. Okay, so the valuable final product is effectively marketed products and services resulting in a volume of profitable sales. It's very carefully constructed. I don't just want people selling unprofitable, non-profitable sales, right? Because eventually someone else is going to be running this department. And if they don't know what their valuable final product is, they won't produce it. But now I have something to make them accountable to. If they don't produce effectively marketed products and services resulting in a volume of profitable sales, if they're not producing that, then they're going to be corrected, trained, or replaced. And we'll get to that a bit later. So that's division 2, that's sales and marketing. Division 3 is the financial division. So you make the sales, now people start paying you money, you better manage that money correctly, right? Money management is a huge part of being successful in business. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of businesses fail is they don't know how to manage their money, their debt, and all that kind of stuff. So the financial division is accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, budgeting, payroll, of course. We could call it accounts receivable, accounts payable. You can, whatever terminology you want to use. That is the division that is responsible for anything to do with money. And part of that is building a reserve of money, saving money in what we call a building fund account. And this is ensure that money is saved for future expansion. You can't just spend every penny you make in business, because then you won't have money to launch new products or to expand, and you'll just go into debt forever. So let's look at the valuable final product of Division 3. Properly managed finances, properly managed finances, income greater than outgo, plus and growing reserves. That is a very carefully constructed sentence there. Properly managed finances, income greater than outgo, plus growing reserves. This is the department or division that can approve or disapprove, that's the correct word, purchase orders, that's what a PO is. So when somebody wants to go invest in something, hey boss, I thought of this great idea for a new product. I want to go launch Garcinia cambogia on Amazon. Okay, show me the purchase order. And then you look at the research, that's not a profitable product, it's totally oversaturated market, denied. Because this is the division that approves anything, whether it's hiring somebody, I got to pay that person. If it's a new loan, they look at all the money coming in and out, and their job is to keep the company profitable. All right. Once the money's being made, now we actually have to deliver something. We sold it here, we took money from a customer, now we actually have to produce something and give them whatever it is they paid for. So this department, this division is called production. Sometimes people call it, let's see, what did they call it? In Hubbard's org board, they called it division of, well, he called it production as well. So yeah, fine, production. We're going to call it production. But you can call it whatever it is. Like if you're a chimney company, this might be the repairs division, right? But in our case, we'll call it production. We're producing the thing that's actually going to be exchanged with the public that we get paid for. And I'll go over all the names and stuff later, but just so you understand the flow of the org board. So this is, we kind of laid it out in a sequential form: product development. In our case, we sell online products. Some of them are physical products, some of them are digital products. But product development is like packaging, inserts, ebooks, different things that relate to the product itself. The product listings on whatever the marketplaces are over here. The sales copy and the images, whether it's Amazon websites or other. Product sourcing, supplier management, dealing with your suppliers, all that kind of stuff. Inventory management. If you run out of inventory and there's nothing to sell, these guys are trying to sell stuff and this person over here doesn't have any product to sell, he's in trouble. Whoever's running this division's in trouble. So inventory management is very important. Let's look at the valuable final product or multiple valuable final products for Division 4, the production division. The first one, we'll call this a VFP. I like to abbreviate things. VFP, short for Valuable Final Product. So the VFP of Division 4 is high quality products, high quality products, packaging, and listings. And also high quality suppliers. I wanted to separate those out because it's important that you make the supplier is a product of Division 4. This person's job is to find those suppliers, build the relationships, and make sure that they're quality suppliers, right? So I wanted that in that department, that division. Now, Division 5 is the magical division, not really magical, but it is sort of the mysterious, elusive division that most companies that fail, Hubbard in his research building this org board discovered that almost every organization in history that has failed because of a lack of quality control. So I believe in his org board, he calls it the qualifications division. Qualifications. I call it quality control, same thing. You're qualifying and you're authenticating whatever it is that the company produces. So this division should actually be a little bit above. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my screen here so I can show you. If you look at Hubbard's version, okay, you'll see that Division 5 is slightly above the rest of them, as is Division 1, because these are the one, like Division 1 is a little bit senior to the rest of them because they're the ones that hire and fire people, so they're the ones that you don't want to mess with. That's HR, they have to be over everybody else, and Division 5 also is over everybody else, just a little bit, because they're responsible for making sure the quality of the rest of the organization. So, tab back here. So quality control. This division is responsible for the quality of your marketplaces, the quality of customer service, right? That's part of your quality. And the quality and corrections of any of that, whether it's hijackers, listing, product correction itself. If this division is producing an inferior product, let's say we're selling pens, and the pen is just leaking and customers are complaining about it, these guys are going to find it through customer service, feedback, and reviews, and then the corrections team is going to go, hey, you guys got to fix your pens because we're getting complaints, and since we're above you, I can have you fired if you don't fix your pens. Your quality has to be superior, right? So this is the main reason why companies fail, is a lack of quality control. So we have a division specifically and only working on quality control. That is the ideal scene, the ideal goal of an organization. You have a division specifically for that. If it's just kind of like, oh, each division is going to quality control their own stuff, that is BS. It never works. Somebody else has to be responsible going, is the executive doing his job? Are these guys hiring the right people? Are these guys selling it properly? Are they over promoting? Are they taking money that they shouldn't be? Is this guy managing the money correctly? Are the products good? Right, their quality control. Let's look at the valuable final product, VFP for quality control. Satisfied customers and a corrected company and its personnel. So these guys are responsible for correcting any part of the organization that is not operating at 100% perfection, including the people themselves. And if there's a term called cramming, it's like a military term, I guess, when a person is trained over here in Division 1, but they screw up and they forget how to do their job, or maybe they didn't understand correctly how to do their job, these guys go and they correct them, the corrections team. Okay? Pretty awesome. And then finally you have Division 6, which is called Public Relations, or the Public Division. And this is really the division that's responsible for and focused solely on getting the customers of the organization to sing the praises and promote the organization itself. And nowadays it is easier than ever, but it's more important than ever. Through reviews and feedback, through social media, through events, through public relations, through donations and nonprofit type things, blogging, other type of media. Let's look at the VFP of Division 6. Raving fans who bring new customers. I couldn't have said it better myself. Oh wait, I did say it myself because I wrote it. Sorry, I'm a little proud of this. So their VFP is raving fans who bring in new customers, and also good community public relations and goodwill. So we want happy customers who bring new customers back, and we also want the community to think highly of us, right? And that's their job. So as you notice, each one of these flows one to the next. And the reason I mentioned a spiral, where this is actually Division 7, is because it really starts here. I mean, it starts with building the company, but the flow starts at Division 1, hiring, selling, managing the money, delivering the product, correcting the product, making customers happy, and getting them to send new customers. Imagine if you could take this piece of paper. Matter of fact, let me show you this way. Whoops. I have a printed version of it here. It's black and white. If I could take this piece of paper and wrap it around into sort of a funnel or a cylinder, a spiral, where Division 6 feeds directly back into Division 2, right? So Division 6 is public. I don't even know if you can read that. But the happy customers bring in new customers that flow right back into the sales, which is Division 2. So I can't really, I'm trying to conceptualize this concept, right? Show you this concept, visualize the concept of a spiral that moves upward. So you have the company is built, it's established, it's running, and then the new customers come back in and they're sold. And every division on this org board flows one to the next in a sequence, resulting in more customers coming back. But if you don't have it separated out like this, it's just too mismatched. So that's the theory of how the org board works. Now let's get into some of the specifics of how to set it up properly. You can call them whatever you want. These are pretty generic terms. Obviously, the exact duties should be put, not every single duty, but the main positions, and I might add to this later, and this would stretch out. The main duties and departments within each division are going to be listed out. I want to have a name at the top of every division. When you're brand new or a small company like ours, you're going to have one name over everything, or maybe two names like us. It's the Ari and Chelsea company, right? So Chelsea does half the stuff, I do half the stuff. We kind of pick and choose who's better at what and who likes doing what. So, you know, filming training videos and stuff like that, like this one is part of Division 1, as you can see, whereas training employees, right? So this is actually a training video that I'm going to show every one of my employees that starts working for us. They need to understand why we have an org board and how it works. So that's me doing my job right here, training videos, great. I'm also working on the quality control, right? So I'm over certain divisions, and the goal is whoever's name is on top of that division is 100% responsible for everything in there. And that's important. So if I ever get somebody, let's say over here, Fiona, she's our supply chain manager. She complains one day about, hey, your payroll person didn't pay me on time, and I'm upset with them, and they don't know how to do their job. If she went and complained to Chelsea, she would be complaining to the wrong person, wouldn't she? Because who's responsible for training the payroll people? Well, that's me, right? Although she could complain to Chelsea, I guess that's a bad example, because Chelsea would be the payroll person's boss, whoever that person is, right? But if it really came down to like, she doesn't know how to do her job, that's my problem, because it's my job to train her, as an example, right? Or, you get the idea. So basically, your job as an executive is to make sure that you always, when you're posting, when you're hiring and training people, you always post from the top down. So you don't hire like an event training coordinator. You hire a Division 1 establishment officer or a director of establishment, right? That person is responsible for everything. And they better learn by the way, that part of that is event training, right? Or whatever it is. So you post from the top down, and they need to be responsible for everything under them. Now, in some cases, you'll see that there's another name. Let's use this one as an example. So I'm in charge of the production division, but we have this person named Fiona. Now, Fiona is our supply chain manager, and she lives in another state. She's not our employee. We pay her, 1099. She's an independent contractor, and we pay her for her time, and she helps us every month to move our inventory from point A to point B and deal with all the shipping and the Chinese languages that I don't speak and the special stickers they need and all the freight forwarding and the customs and all that crap that I just don't want to deal with. So we hired her, and she loves her job. I still put her on my org board because she's part of our team. She's just not officially an employee, all right? And I need to go through and put a lot more names on here. So I'm responsible for everything in this division, including her. So if Chelsea, as the executive, goes, hey, Ari, what's happening with that shipment? And I don't know, I can't say, well, it's Fiona's job, not my job, because guess who's Fiona's boss? I'm her boss. I'm responsible for her production. I'm responsible for getting high quality products, packagings, and listings, and high quality suppliers. I can't pass the buck because that's 100% my division. Uh-oh, my mouse just died. Time for a new battery. All right, I'll use the trackpad. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I'm used to teaching this as a workshop where I have feedback and people ask questions. So I'm probably over-explaining things because I don't have someone to go, oh, wow, that really makes sense. Brilliant. I'm also over quality control and customer service. I used to do all the customer service myself. And then we hired Katie, who's a customer service manager. And then she hired Joybell, and she hired Malu, who are our two Filipino VAs. And these, if I decide to let one of them go in the future, that name will be gone or I will replace it, right? And maybe eventually we'll have a name under every single one of these jobs when our company is huge. But in the meantime, I'm in charge of everything. She's in charge of customer service. So if I have a question about customer service, I can go, hey, Katie, what's happening with that refund? What's happening with that review? What's happening with that nasty feedback? Make sense? And Katie is over that whole section. So your job is to post from the top down, assign responsibility, accountability, and production based on those valuable final products. And really you could say that the VFP of everybody doing their product is a profitable and expanding business. And that's why that's the valuable final product of the executive, because the executive is overseeing everything and building the company. I hope you have found this training to be enlightening. I hope that I've answered some of your questions just through rambling on. Once you've got it in a decent enough format, you can print it off, and you want to put this in a spot in your office where everybody that works for you can see it, or email copies of it to your employees once you've got it pretty well organized. And then eventually, once it's really, really well organized, you can actually put it up on the wall. And we don't have this yet. Matter of fact, I had a big butcher paper like up on the wall where we drew it all out and in permanent marker, and it looked really sloppy, but it was kind of like before I put it into a Word document like this, it was all just drawn out on butcher paper, big, huge, like 6 foot long by 3 feet tall or something like that. There's a picture of the baker showing his guys, this is our org board, right? And ideally you'd have it really big on the wall where everyone can see it. So if this guy has a question about cakes, he looks at the correct department in cakes and goes, oh, I need to talk to him. And what that does is that takes pressure off of the executive. The ideal scene is that everyone is doing their job, and that allows the, oops, my mouse isn't working. That allows the executive, really the executive, ultimately the executive should have somebody else running each one of these divisions. So all the executive has to focus on is setting goals and purposes, writing the policies, the plans, the strategic planning, handling the expansion of the business. But you're never going to be able to expand, Mr. or Mrs. Executive, if you're stuck doing all of this stuff. What I want you to do as sort of an assignment is to print this off, to download this document, okay, and then edit it so the jobs and positions match your company, whether you're a dentist or a doctor or whatever you do. Most of you are e-commerce businesses, so it'll be pretty similar to this one. Delete all the names, and I want you to go through and I want you to write down your name next to every single hat that you are wearing, every position, every duty that you are currently doing yourself. And guess what? You're going to find that you're doing a lot of them. And then the next part of that task is I want you to take a yellow highlighter and highlight all of the tasks that you don't think you should be doing. You say, you know, somebody else, I may not have somebody else, but ultimately somebody else should be doing those tasks. It's not for me to tell you what they should be. It's however you feel. You go, I want to be focusing on this stuff here. I shouldn't be doing all this crap. Customer service. I shouldn't be doing all this sourcing. I should offload that. I shouldn't be doing the product development and the packaging. Whatever it is. And then you will start to see who you need to hire or what you need to outsource. And then make them responsible. Put their name on the org board, give them a copy, go, look, that's your VFP. Your job is to produce that. Go do it. And that will start you on the path to being organized. Just again, I want to remind you that I did not make this up. It came from this booklet, The Basics of Organizing. There's also an online course that I will show you here. Here. And it is on the Scientology website. Again, this is not a religious course, but it goes through the basics of organizing, and it's a free course. If you just go to Scientology.org, and what I did is I don't use the website very much, but just to kind of give you a little intro here.
You gotta take a look at these. If you've ever had to deal with a badly organized business or office, you'll know how trying and frustrating that experience can be.
As you can see, it's just about business. If you go to the Scientology.org, I think what I did, because I don't expect you to remember this whole link, and I didn't remember it. So, you know, I took this booklet course at one of the local churches, and I just went on the website and I searched basics of organizing, and what came up, I think there's like a channel. They have like a channel for their online training, but I just found basics of organizing here. I clicked on that, and then that video popped up. So there's a whole bunch of other cool training courses that they have that are about just life improvement, helping with business, with organization, with relationships. But this is the one that I wanted to show you. Oh, the tone scale one is also one of their free online courses, so check that out. So again, I just wanted to show you that I got that from L. Ron Hubbard. I respect him very, very much. This stuff has changed my life. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you put it to use.